Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's presentation. I'm Jared from Blinder, and I'm going to guide you through our online workshop. We're going to need about 20 or 30 minutes to walk through what we're doing today. This will be the first in a series of things we do monthly. So let's get started. Today's topic is 5 unique Olympic stories you can create from the comfort of your couch. It's a great time for remote interviewing. Obviously, the past year and a half now, I guess, with COVID, it's we're all pretty much experts at this. But I'm going to show you a few ways that you can take advantage of what's going on in the world to do some really unique things for your brand channels and your teams and organizations. So let's get started. So I'm your host, Jared. I don't remember if I said my name or not, but I'm the Vice President of Content at Blinder. I've been in this role for a couple years, but my background is college sports PR. I started out at the University of Oklahoma in media relations, went into the similar role at the NCAA, hosting social media channels, being a community leader and handling things like championships like Women's Final Four, or lacrosse championships, soccer, um, College Cup is what we called it. Then I moved on to being director of digital strategy and innovation at Purdue University. Was there for a little while before took this role at Blinder. So the Tokyo Olympics in 2021. It's going to be Olympics like never before, obviously, because they're going to see a lot of these pictures. Empty seats. Yep, the fans have been banned because the COVID spike in Tokyo. It's obviously happening in a lot of places, but that's one place that, is going to do their best to limit that while athletes are on the ground. So what that means is ancillary staff only. So you're going to see limited media access, and with that becomes limited media coverage. A lot of the field of play stuff is obviously well covered by NBC and their partners, but off the field, away from the stadiums, there's not going to be much to be had and let the athletes do it themselves. And so you could take advantage of this by helping them create content or scheduling things for them to do throughout the day. And you say, oh, athletes don't want to do that. They could think of a million things to do. Well, they're probably going to be stuck in their hotel rooms all day, from what I hear. So you might as well take advantage of their boredom and their downtime when possible. So athletes are going to be on site for really short periods, unlike past Olympics where they might have come in and been the Olympic Village a week or two in advance, had time to go visit sites, maybe had a few days afterwards to enjoy with their family. They're not going to experience that this year. A lot of Team USA teams, I should say, went to Hawaii, are going to spend their 2 weeks in Hawaii, then jump over to Japan. And then once they're done, they're coming right back. So there's not a lot of time to sightsee, or you won't have their support systems they're usually used to, which is, family, friends, and maybe coaches that aren't on the USA team or the Olympic team, I should say. And also another reason this Olympics is going to be different than the past, and with or without COVID, um, the viewership is shifting to streaming and on demand. So the live event coverage on TV is still going to get massive viewership, but it's going to be down from the last Olympics. Online is going to be much higher, obviously, and with that, that gives you some opportunities to build some timely content to put in those same streams and even break news, because there's not going to be um, such an onus on maybe the impact of someone before and after their competition. The media access is really restricted, so you're probably not going to see much other than maybe like a really, really low key hotel kind of scrum that's really restricted as they get there, or maybe obviously the press conferences after an event. But in between, there's not going to be a lot of coverage of athletes unless they're actually on the track talking to someone from NBC or something like that. So um, the ability to sink in with that on-demand viewership, that streaming viewership is going to be really nice for you guys and your brand channels, which have a lot of reach. Why am I talking to you today? Well, you guys are the ones who have access to the brand channels, to the creation, to the methods, to the athletes. So you're the ones who kind of have to do this job, right? Traditional publicity, like I said, it won't be as available in Tokyo. There's not going to be, a daily brand promotion gathering out, at the local mall or wherever to get autographs. There's not going to be chance meetings at the hotel with a Washington Post reporter. Those things aren't going to happen this year. So the people that are going to tell these stories are going to be either the athletes themselves or people like you back home that can have the access to reach them and tell their stories better. Obviously, the technologies of remote content creation have improved drastically in 4 years. We're all, like I said, experts now that we've had a year and a half under quarantine and COVID pandemic and know our video conferencing software really well. So everyone's kind of used to this now, and so the means by which people digest this, whether it's on a website or it's on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, these kind of more raw elements are much more acceptable now than they were 4 years ago, and even farther back. Athletes will want a diversion, like I said. They're going to be kind of holed up in their rooms or wherever their training facility is, and they're not getting much interaction outside of that. They're going to want to talk to the people that they otherwise would want to talk to in Tokyo. So the family members they couldn't bring, or the friends and the coaches that need to provide some motivation and some well wishes. Those are conversations you're going to be able to capture really easily for Blinder, and we'll talk about that shortly. And lastly, like I said, your story gets amplified. You have the keys to drive the brand accounts. You have the keys to deliver content to the athletes' accounts that they won't have time to publish themselves. So it's a really nice way to kind of cohabitate in this ecosystem of, athlete A wants to, take advantage of their own self-promotion. You can, share some content with them, keep some content for yourself, and do a really nice job telling a unique story. So here are my 5 stories I'm going to share with you today. On paper, they seem really simple to execute, but technically have always had a lot of friction. And when you try to get these across the line, or maybe you haven't because you know what that pain feels like of trying to coordinate all this madness, you realize that maybe it's not quite worth the effort. But I'm telling you, Blinder has made it super easy, and this Olympics is a perfect event to experiment and play around with these ideas and capture some really cool and interesting content for your fans. So first one, daily vlog. Have your athlete talk about what they've done that day, what they're excited about, their emotions going into the next day, their training, whatever happened, to capture that in a video call. And one of our clients actually has a good example of some, not necessarily vlogs, but some podcasts they made. The Leeds Rhinos, which is a rugby club in England, is the most followed rugby club actually on social media anywhere in the world. During their lockdown, they had a couple of athletes who wanted to have a creative outlet, let's say, and so their head of communications, Phil Daly, discussed and built two, kind of weekly podcast around them. So I'm going to show you an example of what they did, but keeping in mind that this is really easy for the athlete to sum up. On Blinder, they just click a link, talk into the camera, and that footage is sent through the cloud back to the dashboard of at Leeds. It was Phil. It could be you to download that video and to just add some branding and a little trimming, and you're good to go with a pretty unique story you could do on a regular basis.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the latest episode of Dogcast. Today we've got dual rugby code player Chev Walker, former Leeds, Bradford, Ulkea. Is that right? Is that all your rugby league clubs? And then Bath in rugby union.
Don't forget Hunslet Warriors.
Hunslet Warriors, sorry, mate. Done my homework, can I? How are we doing, mate? How's isolation looking for you? And you obviously got a young family. How's it been looking for you?
Yeah, really good, mate. It's been weird. The fact that I never really thought I was neglecting what home life was about. I've been so committed to my new job and coaching and bits and bats. But yeah, actually being home, I just feel dead relaxed, which is it's crazy. It's like I don't get stressed generally, but when we've had that conversation before, Doug, haven't we, about when you look back on stuff. You might have seen stress at that time, but yeah, I just it's really surreal. Just being able to get up with the kids and actually reconnect with my wife. So I saw it as being a positive.
Second, there's family calls, and I don't actually have an example of this, but you can kind of see the idea already. I think it's mom and dad or maybe brother and sister on one end of the phone and the athletes on the other, and these are probably daily, if not multiple times a day types of calls. Well, you could schedule one through Blinder where they can talk to each other in a normal video call. They don't have to download any weird software. They just click a link and go, and they talk like normal. They don't have to worry about recording or sending things after through like a WeTransfer or a Dropbox. It's all there in your dashboard, cloud recorded. and they can have their conversations. So think about how awesome it would be to hear the well wishes of the family members or hear the excitement of the athlete getting to step into Tokyo and see their facility that they'll compete on for the first time, and explaining that to mom and dad that they've reached the pinnacle of their athletic career. Or even better, they go and get a medal and they stand on the podium and they cry into the phone. Like, wouldn't it be so cool to see that and share that with your audience? So definitely somebody out there, take a stab at trying to set up a family call for your athletes to connect and share that with the world. It'll be tremendous. Next, conversations with coaches or other athletes. I kind of hinted at this before. you know, the athletes are going to be pretty sequestered. They're going to want to talk to family and friends and coaches back home to get instruction or motivation where otherwise they might have been on site. They're not going to now. So you could have some really cool pieces of content with the way that you can operate a video camera on a mobile phone where perhaps the athlete is actually literally getting instructed by the coach during a training session on one end, and you see the athlete on the other end. You can see the coach. And what Blinder does really well is we capture each source independently, so you could get just that coach's video or just that athlete's video, and you can edit them nicely in a way that makes sense in terms of storytelling. Or you could just capture a bunch of well wishes from a bunch of their teammates or competitors or coaches or people around your university wishing them well, and push that on social media and make your athletes feel really nice. So I'm going to show you now an example of actually athletes talking to their competitors. This is from New Zealand Rugby. The women's sevens had a nice little series on Facebook when they were in their lockdown last summer, I believe. And this is the New Zealand women's rugby team talking to one of their competitors, Alia Green from Australia.
Yeah, we want to know about your upbringing and a little bit about your athletics background. Tell us more. How you get so fast?
Where it all started. Well, it all started learning how to run away fast enough from my mum, from the hidings.
So it always starts.
There's no secret about it. Yeah, but basically, I found my love for running when I was about 5 years old, when I did my first ever athletics carnival.
Oh.
And I had this massive afro. I was one of the only black kids in the school. My brother and I, we were in a very what can I say, Caucasian white school. And yeah, look, it wasn't easy, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I got bullied a lot. And I got bullied a lot. And I think, I guess one way for me to make friends or, kind of to find my feet was to do sport. And I figured out like that I was pretty good at running. So at my first athletics carnival, my mum came to watch, and all I wanted to do was make her proud and impress her, really.
So another great idea that would probably, really help your brand is interactions with fans, donors, or essential workers in your local community. This is again exactly what it sounds like. So this is getting an athlete on a video call with a fan, back home, a super fan back home, or a VIP that's special to your organization, or even, do an essential worker, kind of try to elevate the spirit of a healthcare worker or somebody in your local community. So again, really, really simple way to make this happen, scheduling through Blinder. And with Blinder, they don't share personal contact details. So you can send them directly to the athlete's mobile phone wherever they are, or using their email. Likewise with the fan, the athlete doesn't get their contact information either. So it's a really secure system to have a private conversation between two people. Here's an example of Tom Abercrombie, who's on New Zealand's national team, talking with a young fan. I believe the promotion here was the New Zealand Breakers allowed the primary schools, a couple teams, to play on the court at halftime against each other for like a game each year. And so the young boy here, AJ, is on that team. So he's talking to Tom before he goes and plays on the Court of Dreams that night.
I got into basketball last year when I was 10. When did you start playing?
I started when I think I was 8 years old. So I started playing in primary school. My mum was a basketball player, and she encouraged me to give it a go, and started coaching my primary school basketball team, and that's where it all started.
And then lastly, flip the script and have the athlete talk to one of their heroes. Maybe there's another hero athlete or mentor or someone else that the athlete really looks up to that will be a really cool surprise for them to see just as they were about to go compete on a world stage, right? The example for this is really cool. We had the Football Association, which is English national team for soccer for you Americans, surprise some of their National Health Service workers with calls from their superstars. So someone in the team staff, maybe in the ticket office or sales office, would set up saying, "Hey, we'd like to contact you about, a survey or an interest in coming to a game, maybe as a reward." And literally what would happen is they jump on the video call and the superstar would be on, their favorite player or whatever. So this is an example of that. This is Harry Kane, who had a nice Euro 2020, talking to a National Health Service worker as a surprise fan call.
Paul, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, mate?
I'm not too bad, mate. I'm not too bad. You look a little bit surprised.
You'd have to excuse the surprise on my face. I certainly wasn't expecting to see somebody like you on the end of this call.
How you been getting on, mate? I hear you're a physio for the NHS. So what's it been like over the last few months or so? I could imagine pretty difficult.
It's been a lot of new experiences. I think the most satisfying thing is that everybody is in the same boat, and everybody comes together in times like this.
So you see a lot of video calls here, obviously, and you probably are wondering to yourself, why can't I do this on FaceTime or Zoom or Skype? And the answer is you can. It's just a lot harder. So why wouldn't you use Blinder? Blinder's built by PR people like I was, like you are now, to have the easiest possible time for yourself and the participants to complete this process. Um, Media interview management is obviously got its share of pain and tightrope walking, and we help you navigate that through some automation and obviously using the technology that everybody already has. Like I said, it's the quickest way to connect people because you don't have to download anything. You don't need a login. You get unique private links that only work for the time they're supposed to work, so you can't have anybody trying to connect and call, whether it's voice or video, before or after that window you've set is closed. And it's also the easiest way to record each source independently. So when you are working with video, you work with Blinder, you get source A, maybe athlete in Tokyo; source B, that's maybe mom and dad at home; source C, that's maybe yourself kind of moderating; and source D, if you want, could be, somebody else, a coach, whatever, want to join the conversation too. You'll get those 4 recordings independently in your dashboard. You'll also get a compilation of them put together that's synced up their audio and the video too. So it's a really nice way to do some post-production, add an overlay for branding, or just do some quick trimming and have some easy social content to put out there right away and have a timely story to tell. Lastly, about Blinder, it's accessible everywhere, anytime you need it. It's browser-based, so you just go online, you log in to your dashboard online, and you do what you need to do, whether it's schedule a call, modify, cancel, check on the status of a live call, share a video file, play back a video file or a recording, and just do it on your phone. You could be in bed at the middle of the night. You can be in the office. You can be on your home computer. You can be on your iPad. It doesn't matter as long as you have a browser and internet. Not only can you take the call, you can just check on monitor status too. How does it work? Well, I'll show you. So here's the Blinder dashboard, and you can see right away it's pretty simple to get started. You can either start a video now, which is literally a video now for you to have to invite who you need to, or you can schedule a call and you can do video, voice, or call series. Go online to see more about a call series. I'm just going to explain video right now. Phone calls work the same way, except obviously they're not in video. But let's get started. So you can schedule a video call for yourself and somebody else. You can schedule a call for 4 people and you don't have to be on the call. So it's really however you want to set it up. So I'm going to pretend that I need to talk to Simone Biles later, so I'll go ahead and add her. Obviously, I could clearly have her contact information. She's going to be in Tokyo. It's a nice time zone map, so you don't have to figure out things, huh? Yeah. I'm just going to put my number in as a dummy number. So what this is for, the mobile number and the email address, that is not shared information. That is actually kept in the system. It's only to send notifications and reminders, so the other parties don't actually get that information. So that's a nice blind calling method we have there. And then, like I said, notifications, you can have all notifications, which is when they schedule a call, modify a call, cancel a call, they'll get a note through text and email, or they can just set it up. You can set it up to where they just get the 10-minute reminder or notifications. All it's your process. You do it the way you want. So we'll get that started. Set a time. Oh my gosh, I don't want to talk to Simone at 4:30 in the morning. Let's give her a couple of hours to wake up and stretch and have a bagel, and yeah, 10:30 ought to do it. So that'll be 6:30 for me tonight, 10:30 for Simone. That looks good. Good in here. Set our call window. Let's give Simone, maybe she's running late. Let's give her an hour for us, to sit there and connect. Again, this is just the connection, how long those links work, how long the window's open from start time. This does not make the video expire. Record the call, and we don't need to share the recording, but that would, if we click on and share the recording with Simone and any other participants on the call, they give them a deep link to go download their content, and we'll click schedule the call. All right, so you can see my call with Simone is in the dashboard. I can go in here and monitor status to see, if we've connected or not. This is where my files will be after the fact. Let's go ahead and jump into a finish call so you can see what that's like. Okay, so here's a little test call I did with myself. Oh man, I'm looking really good there. Twirling my beard. You see down here at the bottom of call details, I have myself, but this is me on one browser tab and this is me on the other. So that's two video files from the two different sources. I can download those independently, or I can take the full room, which is what's playing back up here. So we'll just see how this is going on. Man, I look good. Oh, good yawn. Man, I was in rare form this day. I'm glad I knew this was going public. But that's a stitched together file you can use. You can overlay it and add some branding on it and be ready to go. Just trim it up a little bit. And that is Blinder in the back end. So I hope you'll take advantage of these story ideas and create some really unique, emotional, transcendent pieces of content for your channels, for your athletes' channels, for whoever needs them. The only people that are going to tell these stories behind the scenes are the athlete themselves or you with the access and the methods that you have, so you can actually maybe break some news even and beat ESPN and NBC and the others with stories that matter. And using Blinder, you make it easy for everyone involved because it's super easy to get connected and share their recording and get it to where it needs to be. And you can activate a Blinder account and start using technology these teams do in just a few minutes. Here's how. Visit blinderhq.com. And if you start with our free plan, you'll get 30 minutes of recording time each month for free. You do a call in your first 3 days after activation, and we'll give you 30 extra recording minutes. So you could have 90 minutes to use between now and the end of the Olympics, technically, if you get started for free. All right, thanks for joining the presentation today. I enjoyed speaking to my computer for the 500th day in a row. Hope you guys enjoyed listening. If you have any questions, enter them in the chat here and I'll stick around for a few minutes to take care of those. Or send them to me by email, jared@blinderhq.com. Appreciate the time and the attention you gave to me today. See you soon at our next workshop.